So now that video is being filmed upon 2026 July 9th, Football's Day, and indeed my sister came back a few days ago and I shall discuss the eBay purchases which she has brought back, which are most of them. But first of all, in view of Fuller's Day, I purchased, because the old necklace I used to wear to hold my Fuller's hammer pendant and broke the Lord pellet, so I purchased this antique, the seller says, late 19th century French, or at least it was, because it in France, but I had an ex laughing regarding jewelry, solid silver necklace, which is very long, but I double rounded, if that makes sense, and came around to here. Now the necklace is obviously normally accurate. The ring, they had already non-accurate imitations of Fuller's hammer rings in view of the neo-pagan Renaissance movement starting in the late 18th century. By the late 19th century, it would be almost virtually the same as that ring, which I've had since now 6 years. And that is the other, 1 second. Of the anti-prizes which the 1945 stamp khaki ones there. I transformed them a little bit, so because they were much too large, I did as I had said. I've sewed in 2 buttons. I did not have the right size or in this color. So that these are the original buttonholes. These buttonholes here are recreated by Sweetry, and I sold these buttons, and I sold 1 button here and 1 button there to wear them with the braces I got, which go back, which are these. So unfortunately, the tragedy of the war is that eBay offers delivery to the buyer, but the shipping fees are exorbitantly high, and nothing from anything that is located within the United States of America, which goes through eBay, then eBay refuses shipment to the Middle Eastern country, my being situated in Dubai. So these braces are, I think, from original China, are modern, but are made of cotton normally, or this non-elasticated cloth. And hard to find, so they have modern, new stock, modern stock, but at least they do not contain genuine leather, which is more modern. This is a plastic fake leather, it's also less accurate. But also they are very hard to come by. I could always leave it within the American market, which also, for the reasons explained, I could not have it shipped to France because they blocked everything in France when it's from America. They do not have any single tab braces, let alone with a single tab in the back. So for the first time I shall try them on. And then she brought back the other pair, the other khaki pair I had purchased, which is ever so slightly different but also French, which I shall analyze now. Obviously these things are not accurate or from the era. I mean, the trousers are not from the 1890s at all. These are the trousers. I'm just trying them over my 50s boxes because it's not this after Kevlar. Way too tight to simplify. My only concern is that, in view of the rare centric back belt buckle, the button, so there's only 1 of them, is obviously rather skewed, see? But I think it should function since these arm trousers are light and are rather tight fitting around the waist. And also the problem I had explained regarding the penis and butt cheeks being had by the seam of the under trouser is non-existent within either this pair or the other beige pair, because the seam is sewn in up into the very edge. The line does not pop up, and the cloth being much less hardy than on these late 19th or early 20th century under trousers. Now this is the other pair, which is a darker key, which has brace tips, but again much too large, and the buttons are discolored but seem older, nicer buttons, more like wool. Otherwise they're made exactly the same with the same pleats. They will try them on. I shall walk them back, face back. I fancy they were from another seller, so they're much too large, otherwise the same. And I shall shave, so there was another pair, so no bring back, similar to the one I'm bandaging now, but non-white. These are the white ones. Look at that beauty. So these are much older, or at least a much older style, more accurate style, but they're not necessarily that old. And so these are the thread was bound to head, but see, because they're sold in the seam and to the very end, and the cloth, these are non-knitted issues, so the cloth is not that thick, they do not have the butt cheeks and the trident, but they are also too large. But I will not change them in normally, since I changed them in all the Swedish-Army ones, and I will keep them lest I should gain weight again. In fact, this very pair was, back in the day, reduced in size. Either because it was too large or because it got damaged. It's quite obvious. And it has these weird brace tips. And they're ever so small and beautiful mother of pearl buttons. And these are long, but they have the slit there. Right? So see the system, initially it had something to pass in the loop, but it only has one button, and it has been sewn in. So initially, there would have been a button there, quite obviously. But what they did, so there would have been this, would have passed there, and there would have been another loop passing, so it would have been different tabs, you know, and one going in the tab of the other through such slit holes. They left that one there, but it must have been dubiously too cinched in, because also they cut them rather low-waisted for such a pair. And initially they would have been cut until here. To clearly open them further, cut off the original French, what's it called, French buyback, and sewed that in there, and they said for a man who gained a lot of weight, which was passed down to somebody who was much bigger, so that he could still wear them. Now they're too large for mine, but I explain why I will not use them. They were also massively too large, so now I'll just keep them as they are. Now these are not late 19th century, because they have a pleat there. This was normally not done in the late 19th. It ended in France. In view of the peasant culture, these were well until about 1940. So the issue during World War II. So obviously until about 1950s, they were worn by farmers. I would say these would be older until 1930 to 1940 in view of the pleats, in view of it being less high-waisted, in view of, to a certain degree, the cloth itself. And the button is looking very brand new and like glass and semi-plastic made. But that's completely honestly a problem, unless you're really super OCD like I, and even I, to me too. Because I had to make a compromise with a softer cloth and the right size, which I thought was the right size then because I like larger things and having more weight handles, already explained in the last videos. Now, I have something which is expensive and which is by far the only original or near original, I should say. Not quite original, and I shall explain why. As per my view of it. And of course, I checked my system. So I have that JP Morgan chef. The problem with the JP Morgan chef is that I'm often within my ship in view that Dubai is the hottest country on earth, and it is not accurate at all, as I explained. Check it.